everybody, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast, coming at you with Pyrian Flax's holiday hotel room, I guess. Where are you, P.
Well,
Flax?
yeah, we're on the road again, everybody. Well, one of us is anyway.
On the road.
One of us is on the road.
You're
Yeah.
piped in. You're not in the road. You're in a bedroom. Whereabouts are you? Are you on holiday?
I am in Mersey Island.
Oh, you're the Essex coastline.
I am.
God, you're so close. You missed me just by like a couple of letters. You could have come to Jersey Island instead of Mersey Island for your vacation. That would have been fun.
It would have been way better.
It would have been way better, yeah.
I don't know why we chose Mersey Island, but it's actually really nice. And we've never been here before. We've done a lot of holidays in Kent because we can just drive there.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier with the kids and all that.
Sure.
And we take my mum away because she's on her own, so she didn't get away much. So I can pick her up in
You've
Bournemouth.
taken her away? To where?
Well, on holiday with us.
Oh, I see.
They haven't taken her away, sadly. But she's got this dog now. This dog has given me more stress than any animal has any right to over the last couple of weeks. This fucking dog is the worst dog I've ever met. I swear to God.
Did you recommend to me Friday Night Dinner?
Yes.
Because I watched all of that on Netflix the other
What do you
day,
think?
and it's great. Horrible grandma and her dog, man. So I'm getting the vibe of that from your mum.
She wanted a dog to keep her company, which is fine. So she got this animal. It's a rescue dog, but it's not rescue as in it was being beaten by evil people. It's just that it didn't have a home, right?
It was a rescuer, and now it can't stop rescuing people, even when they don't need to be rescued.
It can't help itself.
It's like
throwing itself into the sea to rescue swimmers. Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, so this dog, his name is Chewbacca, right? So we have to call him Chewy,
right?
Because that's what the previous owners named him. So he's called Chewy, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
And he's like a tiny ball of fluff because he's half Pomeranian and he's half Jack Russell. And he's all nightmare. It would be the tagline on a movie.
So he's very stupid.
Yeah. He is very stupid. He's completely disobedient. He has bitten me multiple times. He lunges at you barking and snout growling. And it's not even predictable. So you'll be walking along and he'll look at you, no problem. And another time you'll walk in the exact same way. And this time he'll go, and run at your feet. He lunges at the children, but then at other times he loves them and follows them around the house like a pet. So he's extremely unpredictable, and that's what I don't like. Like normally I know that so-and-so dog doesn't like it when you touch them. Okay, then we don't touch the dog and we're fine. Or, and you just think, that's not a pet. Like if you have to say, oh, don't touch the pet. I'm like, what is this thing? You're just sharing a house with an asshole at this point. But anyway.
It's like an IT technician's worst problem. It's a thing that you say, yeah, this thing is happening. And then when you show it to them, they're like, oh, it's not happening anymore. It's like an intermittent problem.
You just summed up my entire relationship with cats. Like that's how I feel about cats. I
didn't know what you were going to say then. I thought you said with my wife.
That sounds like me and my wife. No, it's cats. I find are the same. They're super unpredictable. You never know what they're thinking or what they're gonna do, and then randomly they just turn up with like a fresh kill that they just start chewing on in the middle of the living room and stuff. And I don't know how anyone has time for cats, honestly. I
think it's because they play hard to get, right? You're constantly trying to get their attention, because once you get it, it's quite rewarding.
Yeah. They also they're so low effort pets. Like you don't really need to do anything.
Yeah.
So it suits people who don't really want responsibilities or have enough responsibilities and just want a nice looking thing as an ornament around the house. I mean, I don't understand people's tweeting about their cats and posting Facebook pictures of their cats and all that.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And the worst is people who already have kids and then they have pets at the same time. And you just think, wow, why give yourself more work on top of already a lot of work?
Well, yeah, but cats are zero work. Like you just put food out for them now and again, and that's pretty much it. And that's all it takes. Yeah. It's very, very low effort. But this dog is awful. We brought it on holiday with us. It's here now.
Uh-oh.
So my mum has popped out.
Is it looking at you right now?
Looking at me.
It's forcing you to say
what
things.
do I do, Ray? Yeah, he's gonna. It's just terrifying.
He's gonna lunge at you.
He's got a gun to your head.
Well, I mean, it's so tiny that, and so is it a Jack-Iranian? Is that what it's called?
God knows. It's a fucking idiot, is what it is.
Or a Pomeranian?
It's a new breed.
New breed. Fucking idiot. Iranian.
We got a brand new breed in stock today, boys and girls. This one's called a fucking idiot. Won't shit on your carpet that much.
It is at least toilet trained.
Oh, that's good.
We brought it. My mum. I went to Birmingham for the Dota Major, right?
How was that?
It was good. It was very good. There were some issues, but they were not related to the fact that this was in Birmingham.
No.
What the issues were, the tournament structure was poorly designed at the last minute to squeeze a bunch of games and teams into a very short tournament. It was very strange. A lot of the best teams got knocked out very early on. So teams that people really wanted to see were out before the main stage even happened.
Wow.
So that was kind of fucked up. And then there were only 2 best of 3s a day on the main stage, which was also very strange because normally you'd have like a much longer day with more games. So we didn't start till like 2 p.m. was when so we got up whenever. Call time was like nearly midday. We'd roll in, you have lunch, and then you're basically waiting around till 2 p.m. It was crazy.
Nice.
And we'd be done by 6 or 7. So I mean, from a purely lazy bastard point of view, best event ever, right? And there's hardly any work. But it was weird. So the Arena Birmingham, where they had it, was actually a decent venue, but it was incredibly hot, and the screens that they had were incredibly small. So if you're sat in the arena, it's a huge arena, the screens were so small that you would actually barely be able to see what was going on.
Right.
But somehow the UK crowd was incredibly hyped, very funny. Like their banners were very funny. They got like football-style chants going. Yeah, it was really funny, and they all loved to drink. And when you were wandering around the arena, everyone was really, really polite and nice and cool. So it was very, very good, and I'm very happy. And Birmingham was a great place to go out in if you don't mind it a bit rough and ready.
Yeah,
it's great crack. So we went out like after the event. They boot you out of the arena, and you're straight in the middle of town, and you're just going out for dinner with your mates and a drink and stuff. So that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did this relate to your dog?
Good question. Oh, yeah. No, I remember. So while I was away, my mum was up looking after the kids. So basically, the dog's been up living with us for a week. And the moment it got in the house, like I went and got her and drove her up. And I was like, all right, we're going to let the dog in. I don't know what the cat's response to the dog is going to be, but it's probably going to be negative. So the dog comes in. He's looking around. He sees the cat. He pauses for like a fraction of a second and then just makes a beeline straight at her, barking and growling. And she like defends herself as best she can. She's like smacking him with her paw. He doesn't care. Like he doesn't. He's not like most dogs. When they get swiped from the cat, they're like oh, and they sort of freak out and they're terrified of the cat.
Yeah.
Not so with this dog. This dog was just like following her, chasing her, snapping at her heels. Like he was not going to quit. So she was like fuck this, and she left. And then she crept back in, and he saw her again. Freezes for like a picosecond, and then bolt like a bullet. He's at her. And she's like swiping and swiping and swiping, doing her best. And she's like an old cat, but she was putting up a hell of a fight. But I thought he's going to kill her. So she was like, fuck this. And she left again. We've hardly seen her. She basically moved out. And in the evening, she creeps back in. And if he's not downstairs, she'll sleep downstairs. But I'm thinking, this is her house. And this motherfucking mutt has turned up and is ruining it. And no, it doesn't matter if we're screaming at him, shouting at him, throwing stuff at him, spraying water on him. He doesn't give a shit.
So you're trying to keep this dog off the cat, right?
Well, no, I'm trying to get him used to the fact that there is a cat here and she lives here and he should not fucking chase her.
Right.
Like eventually he'll get there. Like he has a cat in his house. So my mum's had this dog for a few months now and he still goes for this cat. Like even now, this is weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. No matter how much you scream at him, it doesn't matter. He still goes for it. So he's like zero respect for the human voice. So I've been shouting at this fucking dog, trying to get him to actually listen. And he's maybe getting there now, where if you shout at him loud enough, he's like, oh, you're angry about that? Oh, okay. I'll maybe consider that. You know, it's like there's no obedience at all because he's had 4 owners in like 2 years. So he's got no respect for authority, if you like. And I think he thinks he's in charge. So it's going to take months to break this animal, but he will be broken. They can all be broken.
He will break. He will bend the knee.
He will bend the knee, Jon Snow.
Nice. So I love how you're just watching this sort of weird relationship happen. So what does the cat do? Does it just go out into the neighborhood and like go down the pub?
She lives in the back. I mean, she's not a wandering cat. She's not. So we've got a shed, our neighbour's shed out the back, and she basically lives on top of there and, creeps in occasionally. I mean, I'm sure she's found some other house where they'll feed her, but she's a very sweet cat, and she really is. And I don't even like cats, but I don't like her, but she's a nice enough cat, And I guess she's getting by.
I don't like her, but I respect her as a cat.
Do, exactly. I do respect her.
I don't like cats, but as cats go, she's okay.
She's respect worthy, yeah.
She doesn't scratch the kids' eyes.
No,
out.
well, the dog, like we had one of my daughters had a sleepover, and her friend came over, her best friend, very sweet girl, nervous around dogs. The moment she comes in, what do you think the dog does? He's like, you guys have played Darkest Dungeon, right?
Yeah.
So you know the way some of the guys have a move where it's an attack move where they move forward to and sort of stun someone, right?
Yeah.
Or put a bleed effect on them. That's what this dog is like. Like the moment I saw this move, it's so consistent. It's like a move forward two. He like bounces forward 2 paces and bites like that. And I thought this is like a Darkest Dungeon move because it's so consistent.
Right.
And he just spams it. He's just spamming that on my daughter's friend. I was like,
no cooldown whatsoever.
Just no cooldown.
Wailing away.
She's screaming her head off and she's terrified.
Wow.
Like she's terrified. And we're all screaming at this dog to stop. And he's just chasing after her. And I'm like, this animal is out of control. Like I lost my shit with that dog. And you go put him in his cage. He's got this stupid, gormless, cute little face. It's like, and I'm like, how can you not understand that I'm furious with you? So I spent the last couple of days, anytime he does anything, like any minor infraction, I'm like the wrath of God on this dog. I'm like shouting in his face. I'm like commanding him to get back in his basket and everything. And now he kind of grudgingly respects me. And I think he understands that I will kick this thing into the middle of next week if it bites one of my kids. I've made that very clear to him. But I've yet to actually strike the dog, which I think that's the worst thing you can do. But I think shouting at him is definitely a worthy cause.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Verbal laceration.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
I've seen a proper dog trainer trained the previous dogs we've had never hit a dog. There's absolutely no excuse for it. You can always get by with your voice and your posture and shouting. They respect shouting. I'm sorry, but they do. They're stupid animals.
Yeah, you got to use your deep voice, like kids. Kids respond to the deep voice as well, right?
They do.
They can just sense that, like, I've crossed the line here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sort myself out. I'm gonna have to dust myself off, pick myself up, put my helmet back on, and get back in the game.
Oh my
Tighten
God.
the bolts as well while I'm at it too.
From my point of view, like at being allergic to pets, I've never really experienced pets, right? I've never, because my mum was always allergic and like asthmatic and stuff. Well, I was too when I was a kid. So it was our household was like, we looked after guinea pigs for a bit and some hamsters and some stick insects escaped in the house and we had some fish. And we but we never had like cats and dogs kind of sharing.
In the house, nice.
You know how it is, guys.
Yeah.
The normal stuff. We were finding stick insects on the ceiling.
The usual.
The normal stuff.
Yeah, guinea pigs are good. Guinea pigs are nice pets.
Yeah,
they don't do much. They just chill. They're scared of everything. They're not like too demanding or anything. They like to eat like all of your extra,
all of the healthy stuff that
when you're making a lot of veg and you have like scraps and stuff left over, they love eating it. So it's like works out. They're like little recyclers, yeah, little garbage compactors.
I think that's what they used to call them.
Yeah,
back in South America, wherever they came from.
El Garbaggio Compactorino. That's Spanish for guinea pig.
Yeah, mini compactorino. So did you guys like? How do you guys feel about the other pets? Right, like birds, because like a bird.
I don't like
certainly
birds.
A bigger bird, so like a permanent toddler that lives for like 40 or 50.
Well,
years.
like parrots and stuff, I find creepy.
Yeah, like a cockatoo.
I find them really creepy. Actually, they creep me right out.
They're a bit creepy, I know, but I think that also they look so derpy as well.
Spiders?
Like, they do. Yes.
You think?
No, parrots.
Oh,
parrots. Yeah, parrots.
Yeah.
Mrs. F said the other day, "Do you want to get a parrot?" Like she was like, "Wouldn't you like one of those big grey birds, the ones that are really smart?"
Oh,
I don't know which ones she means. The cockatiel, maybe.
Holy crap! The thing about those is that birds they live for a very long time, and they can be incredibly annoying.
They get super excited too. Like when you want them to say something, you're like, hello, and they just look at you.
Yeah.
And then when you're trying to sleep at night, all you hear downstairs is, hello, 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 bang, 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 hello. Fuck birds.
Welcome to the Triforce podcast. Welcome to the Triforce
We could
podcast.
teach one to just take your place, P-Flax. That would be brilliant. Yeah. Then when you go away on holiday all the time.
Yeah.
My mom's over. My mom's over.
I just say the same shit over and over again anyway.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that in the comments, people often say that? I'm sure they already talked about this on a previous Triforce podcast. Like, they do that. We do that all the time.
It's impossible.
Well, I think it's because we just have the same conversation over and over again, and none of us realize it. We're too old.
Guys, wait. I have something that we've never talked about before on the Triforce podcast.
Okay.
Go for it.
Your thoughts and feelings on the new Fallout game that's been announced. Fallout 76. Did you guys see the live stream and stuff?
Yes.
Wow, it was pretty exciting.
So, for those who don't know, Bethesda put up a little stand by, that Fallout thing. Please stand by on their Twitch channel.
It was an IRL one, though. It wasn't the same as the Fallout 4 one.
Right.
The Fallout 4 one was not on a TV screen in a room somewhere. It was just like, on your video feed.
After 16 hours, they played a trailer that was a bit cryptic. And I read on Kotaku this morning that apparently a source at Bethesda has said that it's going to be not a single-player RPG in the Fallout style. So it's not Fallout 5.
No.
It's going to be more like Rust or DayZ, kind of more of a for open-world survival, multiplayer type game, but with quests and storyline and things to do and base building, which I can categorically say I am interested in, but also worried about.
Apprehensive.
Yeah. I'm kind of skeptical about that whole take on it as well. I don't know, I guess some people have some info and have leaked some info, possibly, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be what people think. It'll have probably some sort of base building elements and stuff, but I think it's going to have some sort of overview management stuff as well. I get the feeling.
I think they said that what would we do if we wanted to make multiplayer Fallout, and they looked at the terrible failure of, not necessarily terrible failure, but Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online is a thing which I have a soft spot for because when me and Terps went to GDC, we were it was pouring with rain. We had a meeting with the guys, and they had a nice Airbnb with really nice food, computers, and me and Terps just sat there, dried off, and had a beer, and we played Elder Scrolls Online, the new expansion, which is coming out next Tuesday, I think. Terps and Simon have been doing these sponsored streams promoting it. And I think they're doing one next Tuesday. Actually, it'll be last Tuesday. Anyway, technically, it'll be out now when this podcast comes out.
Wow.
But I was thinking of having a look at it again.
We jumped around a lot there. Just in case you're wondering what timeline we're on, think Back to the Future 2.
It's 2 days ago. So, sorry, I didn't want to badmouth Elder Scrolls Online, but I don't think Elder Scrolls Online did as well as they hoped or was very good in many ways. I don't think it was the product they expected. I don't think it was the product anyone expected from a multiplayer, Elder Scrolls game. And certainly, it's not what we wanted, I think, really. Skyrim has been re-released everywhere, and, you just played another 20 days of it, didn't you, Sip? So, I mean, it really holds up.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm apprehensive, I guess, about this. But I think Bethesda will probably share the same apprehension that they don't want to just end up with another crap.
When these companies take a game that's been done one way and then suddenly do it a different way, like taking Fallout 4 or taking Fallout that's always been a single player game and then making it this, it always makes me think of Game Dev Tycoon when you've unlocked day-night cycles, open world, and MMO. Yeah. And you can now combine several genres, so they're doing that, and it's I know what Star Games is going to give this a 6 out of 10.
It's a strange one because these Elder Scrolls Fallout are very, very much loved IPs, aren't they? And the people who do love them don't want them to change much. They just want them to get better, but they want the same experience.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of people that say, I hope the Fallout game is single player. I don't want to play with people.
I'll level with you. I didn't enjoy the Fallout games. I find them depressing and very samey.
Yes.
I love them. I
know you do. They're right up your street.
I love the setting. I love the stories. There's a lot about it that I really, really like.
I have met a few people like you, P-Flax, who are exactly the same. That they really just can't. They just find the setting and the whole thing just too distressing or like depressing, and they just can't get into it. And it's certainly a thing that you'll find a few people. So sorry, Six, to interrupt. Go on.
If it was a single player, and I'm sure there will be other, Fallout 5, I guess, which will be the next proper sequel, will be, I'm guessing, a single player RPG that everybody will love or hate or whatever. But it's always tricky because at the same time, I feel like these studios need to, and Fallout's tried to do it before, like the previous owners of Fallout and stuff. They did like Fallout Tactics. They tried to sort of like move out of a genre into like another genre with it, or at least sort of almost hedge their bets sort of thing in case, that the single player RPG thing started to wind down a bit, then maybe they would have, their IP into some other genre that was more current and that worked better or whatever. And I feel like they're probably just trying to do something like that now, because who knows, what, like we don't know what's going to be, what the industry is going to be like in 5 years, like who would have known that battle royale game modes were going to be so popular now, you know what I mean? And like that's there's tons of them coming out now. So it's like, I don't know, I guess it makes sense, but it's going to leave a lot of people salty about it too, because like I said, you will just have people who are like, Fallout is a single player RPG and nothing else. I won't play anything else, like, unless it's that.
Well, I think that's because that's what they want. And there's other single player RPGs where the games industry is so busy and full. There's games coming out literally every fucking day. Me and Tom do this stream on Saturdays when we look at games on Steam Spy, and every time there's like 5 or 6 games every week which have come out and I'm interested in. And it's like, wow, we are saturated, and I think there's something for everyone who wants.
Are you for real? You're looking at games that are coming out, and you're like, yeah, there's loads of good stuff coming out. Really?
I'm excited about 2 games that are coming out, and once they do come out, and I played them, then I'm just like stuck again. I don't know like what I'm going to look forward to. So hopefully,
I look at the Steam store, and all it is weeb shit and fucking anime RPGs. Set in a school and stuff. I'm like, Jesus, stop recommending me this stuff. Like, I'm looking at my features and recommended, and there's not one thing that I want to play.
I don't think Steam does well for recommending you stuff, by the way, either.
Yeah, it's based on the games that you play, right? So if you play a lot of Dota and Counter-Strike and stuff.
You play a lot of anime schoolgirl stuff, they're going to give you more anime schoolgirl
I've never played one. I've never even installed one.
But you look at them.
I don't.
Pillars of Eternity, Deadfire 2. Have you seen this?
That's meant to be really good. Yeah.
It's supposed to be really, really good. It's like piratey kind of. It's like, I think it's what Assassin's Creed, that pirate one, Black Flag is to Pillars of Eternity, to Assassin's Creed. It's good. It's good.
I played Slay the Spire, which is excellent.
Good. Yeah,
it's really enjoyed that.
They've got a new hero out in that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I got to try that out.
I really like Slay the Spire, but I played that so much that I streamed it a lot. And then I was like, I want to play something kind of the same but different. And everyone was like, why don't you play Darkest Dungeon again? I was like,
ooh.
And I was like, okay. But I realized they've released all this DLC. So I've been playing that for the last couple of weeks. Oh my fucking God, how hard is that game?
Hard.
That is
so fucking hard.
Rough. Jesus.
Yeah, it can get really rough, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like.
Yeah, but I got
scary.
some lads up to level 5, and I was like, I've got a full party at level 5. As I got a whole bunch of other level 5 guys ready to go. Got loads of good gear. We've got all the sort of some pretty good stuff. Go into this dungeon. First guy we bump into is the Fanatic, right? And the Fanatic is probably the hardest boss I've ever played against in this game. This guy can fuck right off. And he wiped out my entire party. We had to run away. We lost 2 guys. I was like, Christ alive. Like, this is rough, man.
Yeah, it is a tough game. It made me salty a couple of times, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not something I'm used to. I'm a very placid gamer.
So, going very briefly back a step, Sips, we met up last week. We were doing some stuff together. You mentioned Fallout Shelter. That had some patch, right, as well. So, like, mobile-wise. And you're still playing all these mobile games, aren't you, Sips?
I play some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Fallout Shelter I've come back to a couple of times. I like the idea of Fallout Shelter, but it's not
been updated, I think. But yeah, I mean,
it's one of those games that you can just like sort of tinker around with like a couple of minutes every day sort of thing, and it's fine.
And the other thing I'd recommend to you, both of you, is BattleTech.
Oh yeah, I heard that's really good.
Because obviously that's what I would consider a really fun XCOM-y type. And there's a patch coming out soon which addresses a lot of the fans' things about like speed and responsiveness. So, for example, one of the things that's quite slow is all the animations. So when I play, I turn off all the animations and stuff and sort of zooms and things. But But BattleTech, I recommend you guys get into it because actually I think you'll find that you might really enjoy it.
Well,
might be your
listen,
kind of thing.
there's 2 Point Hospital coming out, which is like Theme Hospital for 2018.
Okay.
And that looks pretty fun. And then Jurassic World Evolution looks great too. You build a dinosaur park. You build your own Jurassic Park. You have to build pens for your dinosaurs and look after them and shit like that. And it's by the guys who do Planet Coaster.
They're exactly the kind of games that you love, though.
Oh,
Simpson.
I know.
These are both like kind of like just very kind of sandbox creative. You kind of have this steady growth of something, and you build it quite uniquely from everyone else.
When he says steady growth, there's a groan of
steady
satisfaction.
Growth.
Oh,
I'll tell you what.
Steady growth.
I'll tell you what else is steadily growing at the. Yeah, those are the two for me. Those are what I'm looking forward to. But like I said, once they're out, hopefully there's like other stuff to look forward to because you kind of need like a constant. It's like a cycle, right? You binge on something, but then you want something on the back burner that you can go to as well, sort of thing.
I want the new game from the guys that made The Witcher.
Yes.
Code Red Studios, is that what they're called? Something like that?
CD Projekt.
The one set in the future. Yeah, CD Projekt Red. I want that game to be good. Like, I'm really putting on... Because Witcher 3 was a game that I absolutely fucking adored.
Yeah,
one of the best games. I rarely finish games. I loved that game. And I really hope that the new... Cyberpunk one is good. That would be super hype.
I'm sure it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where technically it'll probably be really good, but if you don't like the setting, you might struggle a little bit, sort of thing. Like Cyberpunk is a setting for me that I can take or leave. Like, I'm not super excited about it, but I'm sure it'll still be a good game worth playing. There's definitely themes for me that will get me. Like, I like survival type things. I like sort of post-apocalypse things, like even, whether that's on Earth or like, if you're in like a derelict space colony or space station. I like stuff that puts you back, it sets you so far back that you're just hanging by a thread and you have to build something up that works and that can grow and become better, sort of thing. I love that progression in a game, sort of thing. So like those themes are always super steady growth, baby.
Steady growth.
Those are the kind of things that'll hook me into a game. And it doesn't matter if it's like, ASCII based like Dwarf Fortress or it's got the best graphics ever, whatever. Like it's all about the setting and the storytelling and stuff for me. I love all that.
Oh yeah, that's what I like about RimWorld is you can play a fairly standard game of RimWorld.
Yeah.
But I like steady growth, but I also like random stuff that kind of it's not devastating, but it changes the story.
Yeah, like random explosive growth is always fun
but like a dude's leg, like guy loses a leg. You know what I mean? In RimWorld, and now you've got a mission to replace that leg. So
I was playing
yesterday.
I was playing it yesterday, and I got the hat trick. We had a guy. I had a prisoner who was a 99% chance to resist conversion.
Right.
And so I decided to start operating on him. So I took his right kidney, and it was a success. Got it. And I followed up with taking his left lung, which was a success. God. And then I thought, this guy's going to go critical if I take another kidney or another lung. So I took his heart, and that was him gone. And I got all of those things.
Oh, God, it's so dark when you talk
really
about
good.
what you've been doing in that game to other people. If someone just, tunes in on like that kind of when you're halfway through a, discussion with someone about RimWorld, it's like, so obviously it was quite cold, yesterday. So I went out and I just foraged around outside and I found this dead raider that, had killed he died and, his body was frozen. So I dragged him back and we chopped him up and, we ate him. Yeah, it was bad.
Harvested some organs and had a meal.
Yeah. I love the randomness in that game. Well, a guy joined the colony and we had a lot of human flesh because anytime we got raided, we'd kill a guy or guys, and we'd butcher their bodies for the human meat to make it into kibble for the animals.
Oh my God.
Yes. So in the freezer was just a bunch of human meat. And then some guy, a wanderer, joined our colony, but he was a cannibal.
Oh no.
So he just started going ham on all the meat in the freezer. It was pretty funny. Just eating raw human meat. It was good.
I had a colony, we had a few people join at once, and for some reason they were all pyrotechnic. And we only had one guy who was willing to put out fires. This one guy's entire job was running around putting out the fires all these pyromaniacs were starting. It was the worst. It was fucking horrible.
Oh god. Yeah. There's always shit like that that happens in that game. And it sets you back, but it's always like somewhat manageable.
It's funny.
Everyone has their stories of good bits that happen. And it comes from that Dwarf Fortress era of you building more into these characters than you necessarily are graphically shown, right? So because the graphics are quite simple in RimWorld, and obviously Dwarf Fortress taking that to an extreme, you're looking at a little D or whatever walk around. Actually, I think that might be a dragon or a drake. Anyway, you're looking at your little fellas wandering around in Dwarf Fortress. You come up with all these, you just build this world a little bit like how Minecraft feels like the graphics are so simple and the avatars are so simple that it lets you kind of envisage some grander thing in your mind of what you're seeing. I think it's a good thing, and it's a little bit. But then again, everyone has their stories like D&D style. Everyone has their stories of what happened in their D&D campaigns. They remember them very fondly, and that again is a very audio experience doing D&D. There's a few things that you can have your a little model of your character, but it doesn't really matter. It's kind of and most of it happens kind of in description. It's kind of like an audio experience. It's funny. So anyway, I just mentioned this. I really do recommend Steam Spy as a way to find games if you guys are interested. So me and Tom played this game called Judgment, Apocalypse Survival Simulation.
Oh, yeah.
Which is in alpha.
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't played it. Is it any good?
No, that's full release now. That's been released.
Is it full release?
Yeah.
Holy shit, well, my bad. But it's basically, feels very RimWorldy. Looks pretty stupid, but I think that you could chuck an afternoon into it easy and have a good laugh, and it's not overly expensive. So there's tons of games like I think just dig around out there and get involved, because you'll find stuff.
I'm disappointed. Did you guys ever play a game called Jagged Alliance?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like an RTS, right?
It's a turn-based, sort of vaguely isometric, top-down kind of. This is Jagged Alliance 2, which was the one that was actually really, really good.
Oh, okay.
It's set on an island. You have to sort of defeat the evil queen, who it's modern day, who's taken over the island. So you basically fight a series of turn-based tactical sort of battles. So you're moving your guy around. You find new ammo and armor and guns and stuff like that. So it's like a turn-based squad shooter. A bit like XCOM.
Is it more like Into the Breach?
No, it's not puzzly. It's just, it's quite a big map. It's like modern style combat. So you've got like shotguns and pistols and sniper rifles and things. And your guys get their skills leveled up by fighting and stuff like that. I haven't played a game that isn't just set in modern day with pretty basic guns. Like your guys might just start with like a .38 revolver and they're kind of crap. And you have to hire these mercenaries, and sometimes they die, and all the rest of it. It's really good. Like I don't know why no one's made a game like that. They're always.
It's one of those older games that everybody sort of holds in a really high regard.
No one's made a replacement.
I feel like this is one of those things for when me and Ben do our XCOM streams on Thursdays. We play these old games, and it's almost every day someone says, "Have you guys ever played Jagged Alliance?"
Yeah.
And it just missed me and Ben by, and I think it must have been because I was at university playing World of Warcraft,
right?
And I didn't play anything else for 5 years.
It was well before that. Like it's pretty old. I'm sure it's on Steam. Let me have a look if it's on Steam. Actually,
it is Jagged Alliance 2 Gold.
Yes,
$15.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was. I played it so much.
I'll pick it up and I'll look.
It's very finicky.
This sounds like the exact kind of game we should play on our streams. So thank you for that top tip. That is a really good tip, man. Your tips were great. I mean, Friday Night Dinner was one of the funniest comedies I've seen in fucking ages.
Yeah, it's great.
Only the first 2 series are on Netflix, but there's 2 more.
Yeah.
And then there's 1 more which is airing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I've downloaded series 3 and 4. Sort of from a legal source to watch them, because it's frustrating. Like I feel like my TV in my lounge obviously has Netflix built in. It has like a Netflix button, and that's literally all I do. I press the Netflix button. I've never used it for anything else. It's not got an aerial plugged in. I've not got. I did have a Switch plugged in, but I haven't picked up my Switch since I finished Zelda, which was feels like about a year ago now. And I guess like I haven't had a reason to pick up my Switch. But the new Pokemon game has been announced as well. This week.
Everybody's going crazy about this new Pokemon.
Now, I think I was a little bit too old for Pokemon as well, because Pokemon was really this big craze that happened.
This conversation we've definitely had a million times over.
Yeah, we're all too old. What's your favorite Pokemon, Sips?
Oh, it's gotta be Geodude.
Yeah.
The best.
Oh, it's such dads.
Oh man.
I feel the dad.
Favorite Pokemon?
Yeah, what a question.
Which is the I like the one that's called Coughing, and he's just like a cloud of gas with poison on him. I like Coughing. And Ghastly.
Right.
I think there's one called Ghastly.
That's Ghost sort of one. Yeah.
Right.
My eldest absolutely fucking loves Pokemon. She's got a huge collection of Pokemon cards. Duncan often says, "Does your daughter still collect Pokemon cards?" And I say yes, and he gives me like 200 whenever I'm up there, because he's got loads. But she bought like a folder. You know those folders with the card protectors, like 4 to a row.
Yeah.
And then you turn the page over. And she's put all her Pokemon cards in there in order. And she's kind of like an entrepreneur when it comes to this kind of stuff. And the funniest thing, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, she started collecting Match Attacks cards. Not because she cares about football, because she doesn't, but she knows that the kids at school, the boys will trade Pokemon cards for Match Attacks cards. So she buys the Match Attacks cards. She gets me in as an external consultant to tell her which are the good players and which are the high value players. And then she'll trade those for Pokemon cards with the other guys.
That's pretty smart.
That's really smart. Like she's I don't really care about it, but I know people at school do. So when she goes in with her trading book, which is they do on a Friday, there's like they all meet up in a playground. There's like it's this one area where all these nerdy traders, like my daughter and these other boys, will come in and I just want to trade a Coughing for a Ghastly, all that kind of stuff.
You turn up and Lewis is there. What are you doing here, Lewis?
It's trading day. I'm allowed to bring this in.
Oh my god!
I think there is a certain like kind of nice wholesomeness around that. So, for example, one of the things I've got, we've played in the office relatively recently is Star Wars Destiny, right? And we used to go to like these events at the local game store, and if you went and played in these sort of tournaments, you'd get a little promo card that was a unique version that you could get by going to these things. You could add that to your collection, and also, you know, you'd end up having too many of one thing and not enough of another thing. And so I would always trade for, and I met this guy about 5 or 6 years ago who was a Yognaut, I think, at a Magic the Gathering thing. And he had like a folder filled with slivers or whatever, like kind of these weird cards that you don't normally, are a bit dumb, right? And he had, for example, he just collected this, I don't know, Mimi crappy card. He just had like folders filled with it, like 500 of them, you know? And I was like, why do you carry around this book of 500 of the same shitty card? And he was just like, I think it's funny. And I'm like, actually, it is pretty fucking funny. And so, you know, he turns up and he's like, do you want to look through my collection? You pan through the book and it's like just the same, like fucking, you know, I don't know, it was called like it had a stupid name as well. Like, I don't know. Like, for example, he had a bunch of the Notches Magic the Gathering card that Notch designed or whatever, called like Strip Mining or whatever, or like Aggressive Mining or something like that. And it was like a joke card. I don't know. So these kind of things are just, they're fun. And so, for example, I did the same thing with Ray's Staff, which is like kind of a crappy card that everyone was like, oh, I've got loads of Ray's Staff. So they were kind of joking about it and having way too many of them. So I was like, oh, I'll trade you for them. So I ended up collecting about 150 fucking Ray's Staff cards, and because they come with a dice as well. But it's just a dumb thing to do, and it's kind of social to hang out with other people and talk about this game that you enjoy playing, and gets you a new perspective. Everyone you meet has something interesting to say.
Is that true?
When we were in Seattle, Flax, we went to like a board game restaurant.
Oh yeah, these are popular now.
It was really cool. So we'd sit down, we'd pick a game, we'd start playing the game, order drinks, keep playing the game, and then, you know, the guy would come by and be like, hey, you guys hungry? Are you ready for food? Then order some food, play the game a bit more. The food would come, push the game onto the floor and lose our place and eat a lot of food, and then resume it. It was really
honestly,
nice,
like some of these games though, you need a big table.
Yeah, it was so good.
We were really struggling to get all of these massive plates of cheese sandwiches and stuff. On the side.
We played Catan and we played what was the train
Ticket
game?
to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
That's
we played
those
that.
are fun.
Secret Hitler we played as well. That was fun.
That's good. There is a game. It's like a World War II, or actually there might be a modern day. I can't remember what it's called. It's one of the most complicated board games ever made.
Right.
It's a huge map.
Axis and Allies.
Millions of characters. It's not Axis and Allies.
Twilight Imperium.
It might be Twilight Imperium.
Gloomhaven.
Oh.
Two of the most
it's set in the modern day.
horrifically complicated
Is Twilight
games.
Imperium the one set on the world?
No.
What's that one with the submarine? That looked fun, but we didn't have enough people.
Captain Sonar.
Captain Sonar,
that's
that
a
was
tough
fun.
one. That's a crazy mess of a board game. Everyone's like yelling at each other. You do need like a specific number of people though, so that's quite tricky to do.
Yeah.
It's like you need
Twilight
like, 8
Struggle?
people?
Is it Twilight Struggle? I think it might be Twilight Struggle. It's a Cold War card-driven strategy game.
Wow.
Anyway, there's a whole bunch of these. I was thinking, a lot of these games that nowadays they're kind of designed to be board games. And bear with me here. They're designed to be board games that you can play in a reasonable amount of time with a reasonable number of players.
Yes.
But before we had these large multiplayer strategy games that you can play on the computer, you had to make do with board games.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get your mates around and you'd have to spend the weekend with
Like
this.
Risk.
Well, no, I'm talking like Risk times 1,000, some of these games.
Yeah.
Huge. And it was the same level of detail you'd see in something like Civ or Hearts of Iron, but you had to do it with paper.
Oh, well, this is exactly where Europa Universalis came from. So Europa Universalis was a board game, an incredibly complicated, incredibly thick board game. And they were like, fuck this, let's put it into a fucking PC because then we can actually play it.
Yeah.
And as a result, that was the first Europa. And then obviously it's evolved now to the extent where actually we went to ParadoxCon and they're making a board game for each of their things. So they're making a Hearts of Iron game, a Crusader Kings game, a City Skylines game, and a Europa Universalis game.
A City Skylines
And they're all going to be
game.
different. They're all being made. We played that one actually. I'll tell you about it. They're all being made by different people. So they've got a different person or group to make each game. So they're going to be quite different.
Right.
Which also means the quality might be wildly varying.
Yeah.
But but the Europa Universalis has kind of come full circle because people aren't looking for the same experience in a board game as they used to, right? A lot of the time nowadays we have video games to complexify and make things different. So BattleTech used to be this incredibly complicated
Complexify.
board game.
I'm going to look that up.
It's not probably a word.
It's a word.
But BattleTech used to be this not board game, but miniatures game that Ben used to play when he was a kid, and it had all these complicated sheets, and you'd have to roll on the sheet and find out where you got hit on the mech, and it became tedious, right? And so when they put certain things into video games, they are much less tedious as a result. And but because the computer does so much of the stuff automatically. They found that when they just did a simple translation of BattleTech onto a computer, it wasn't complicated enough. They had to add all this extra stuff. They could add terrain. They could add like lots of different abilities, and as a result, like the game became way more complicated because it went to the PC, right? And so when they're coming back, they have to simplify it massively, right? And take out a lot of stuff to make it something that you guys can learn in 20, 30 minutes. And then enjoy teaching to others as well. Because with board games, you're always bringing in someone who's never played it, right?
Yeah.
Very rarely do I play with exactly the same play group. And so there's always someone who's learning for the first time. And you want them to have a good time. So the City Skylines game was designed by this game who's done a bunch of them, actually, of board games before. And basically, it's kind of this game where you roll 2 dice and then you can pick from this series of buildings, and you literally just build a building, and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick a hotel, and you build a hotel, and you've got these cards in your hand which say you get a victory point if there's a hotel next to a mountain. So the board is kind of this map, and if you build a hotel next to a mountain, you can then claim that. But if someone else has a thing which says, oh yeah, I also have a hotel next to a mountain, they can get a victory point as well. So it's kind of quite open. So you're trying to build this city, but you can move other people's buildings around. You can kind of do small buildings. There's certain things that let you rezone stuff as well. It's interesting, but different from what you'd expect. And obviously multiplayer. City Skylines. How would you ever do that multiplayer? It's kind of weird to think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, SimCity, when we played that, remember?
Feels like it would just like become Monopoly, kind
And
of.
also, at what point, if you're making a multiplayer board game of City Skylines, are you essentially just making a game that's vaguely a city builder and just has a City Skylines name? Like, it's not going to be anything like City Skylines, just because you stick the name City Skylines on it and completely change it. But I understand it, because it's like free promotion for the IP of City Skylines. It's like saying, hey, this is City Skylines, the board game. And people go, whoa, but it's not really anything like City Skylines.
Yeah.
I think that's the case with everything, though. Like the XCOM board game, the Fallout board game, the Doom board game, all of these games are very different, but they're set in the same universe. And there's also, it resonates with the setting. That's what it's more like. It's more like you're feeling like you're playing something in the setting, which is an independent thing. And in order for it not to be crap, it kind of has to diverge quite far away from what you're expecting from or what you know of the way the game plays. I mean, Monopoly, for example, is the worst game of all time. And it was obviously Monopoly was originally designed by this woman who wanted to show the perils of
capitalism
of a monopoly and how bad it was. So yeah, but it's evolved over the years and changed. And the big problem with Monopoly now is that it knocks people out, right? It's not a very good modern board game because people get knocked out. And then what do? If you're sat around at a board game, in a restaurant with people, you just sit there and watch, and knowing that you've lost and stewing in that sadness.
I say you think about what you've done and come back stronger.
Next time, yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Well, exactly. But, I remember Monopoly being this thing where people would have to be forced to leave the table, and kind of be going sit in the lounge or whatever and watch TV.
It's not a social experience. Yeah,
it was kind of an antisocial. It was an antisocial board game, Monopoly. It was not a good, positive thing to play at Christmas. And Scrabble is also AIDS. Just putting that out there. It's boring and torture. And I hate anagrams. I was never very good at them.
Those are strong statements, Lewis.
Scrabble, it sucks.
These are beloved board games.
I know they are,
and
but people need to know that you don't have to play them.
No.
You can play. There's so many excellent board games. Like Board Game Geek is a great place to go, but you have to be careful. I mean, pick a board game that doesn't say 3 to 6 hours, right? Pick one that says half an hour to an hour, because then you'll play it with your family and it'll be great. Like Codenames is great. We played a bit of that, didn't we? And all the other ones we've played. Mentioned so far. Ticket to Ride's good and stuff like this. Like
Monopoly,
they're all
Risk.
Easy. Not Monopoly.
Jenga.
One of the
Hungry
worst board
Hippo.
games
That's a good
of all
one.
times.
It's Hungry Hippo.
I mean, that is not a board game. That's a kid's toy.
That's how hungry they are. They're double hungry.
Yeah, they're super hungry.
Hungry Hippo.
Man, they are so
God.
hungry.
And like Buckaroo.
Buckaroo.
And fucking what's the other one?
Kerplunk.
Holy shit.
Connect 4.
Oh god, Connect 4 is like the mental home fucking game. It's it's so associated with people in mental homes playing Connect 4.
Well, Checkers, I think, is the one. Is the mental home game.
Someone messaged me on Twitter. There's a Kickstarter to remake that game we were talking about one time with the volcano and the lava, and it's on like an island. There's like a dinosaur and stuff like that.
Fireball Island.
Yeah, so they're remaking it.
No way.
And there's a Kickstarter for it. Yeah, and I was like, it wasn't very good. Like we were just talking about it. It was just
it was one of those games where the board and the pieces were really cool.
The most interesting part.
Yeah. So you got the board game, and then you just made up your own games and like made the marble roll down the thing. It was okay.
What was that one? Do you remember Mousetrap, where you had to build?
Mousetrap is cool. Yeah,
that kind of shit.
Mousetrap was fun. Oh fuck! It's rubbish though. It's not. It's a toy. It's not
awful.
a board game. It's a kid's toy.
Yeah, but it was cool back then. I liked it.
Yeah. I remember being a kid and playing Mousetrap and enjoying it.
Remember the Incredible Machine, the game?
I don't remember that.
The Incredible Machine. Oh my god! It's like Mousetrap, but it's a PC game, and you have to like.
Oh yeah.
You have to put like in pulleys and levers, and you have to like. You have to hit the chicken at the end of the map, but you have to put in like a whole series of doodads and gadgets and shit, and the marble has to like drop into a bucket.
They still make Operation.
Yeah.
Like my kids bought Operation for someone's birthday party, but the things that you pull out of them have been modernized. So I guess that's it's the same game it was in the 50s.
What do you mean?
I mean, so now you have to pull like his iPhone out of his ass instead of like a bone or whatever it was. So like the things you take out are slightly different.
Well, it's more anatomically correct. Is that what you're saying?
No,
you can do,
right.
You can do boob jobs and stuff in there now too.
Tummy tucks.
Yeah, you could do liposuction is a thing you're able to do now.
Can you do like a scrotal lift?
Yeah. You can do a you can provide your patient with a designer vagina now too in operation.
Can you give them a vajazzle?
Yeah. So if you have any bits, if your patient has like any weird bits like dangling down from their vagina, you can just sort of like cut them off.
I think it's always men though, right? The operation.
Yeah, there's no woman. There's no woman, and there's always some old dude, some old white dude. Hey, I was just going to say from Birmingham, an awful lot of people came up to me and said, Varian, I have a small penis. I was telling Lewis before we started recording.
I'm so glad that started to happen to you because Sips never goes to these events anymore, right? And so, no, he doesn't have these big long signing sessions like I do. And it's just constantly people telling me they have a small penis.
Yes.
Oh,
and
God. I get it from time to time.
Troll.
A guy approached me on the street one time. He said, Sips? And I was like, oh, hey, yeah. He's like, man, I've got a small penis. I was like, all right. Good.
You high-fived him.
Yeah,
I told you about the time a guy did that on a busy train. I was coming back from York down to London, and I was sat chatting to a couple of my friends.
But they usually like look to the side, right?
Yes.
And then they whisper it to you.
But he didn't whisper it.
I like that.
He did not whisper it.
Oh, right.
He walked into the carriage. We sat there. It's like the first class carriage because someone else paid for the ticket.
Ooh,
Yeah,
first class on the train.
On the train. He walks up to me and he goes, Pyrian, just wanted to say I have a very small penis. And I was like, okay.
He was like 65 years old.
And that was it. He went, okay, thank you.
And you look left at your wife and she just nods.
Knowingly. It's like, oh.
Luckily she wasn't there. But the people around us were looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy? Is he like a dick doctor or something? And he's like, and I wanted your number so I could have a huge penis. Yes, we can book you in next week for the re-beginning operation.
Re-beginning.
Yeah.
It used to be big, but I'm getting older and it's shrinking.
I need it to be re-bigged.
I need it to be. I need it to be re-bigged. ASAP.
I mean, I feel like for you guys, you've already had your kids, you're married, you're settled down.
You're going to say it doesn't matter.
Do you need a bigger penis at this point?
Always.
I don't even need a dick at all at this point. Like, I'm done. Just chop it off. It gets in the way all the time. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's just chat calling to you.
Yeah.
Play with me. Play with me.
I certainly don't need my balls anymore. So like,
yeah, they're done.
We can get rid of those, and then.
They're
getting lower and lower anyway. I feel like they're just going to get caught on a fence or something.
Oh,
and just
I know.
Be gone one day.
Like an udder down there.
Get tied up in my shoelaces.
Yeah. God damn. Yeah.
Oh shit.
That's life. It's the circle of life.
Yeah.
At one point in your life, all you can think about is your dick and your balls, and then at another certain point in your life, you're like, God damn, this dick and these balls. Get them out of here.
So do they still make that fucking game where they've got the hoop and the electrical wire?
Oh yeah, they do.
Run
yeah,
the hoop
of course.
around.
Of course.
I mean, I remember that game being terrifying.
You can usually buy those like at the counter at a toy store because they're just, they're still trying to, hey, last minute purchase, go through the snaking queue of like a million toys that you never thought still existed, and the electric hoop is in there every time.
I mean, like Slinky, they still make Slinkies, even though they never fucking work those things.
No, never.
I think you had to have a very specifically set up set of stairs that was exactly the right one. I don't think I ever found one as a kid.
No. And it needs to be also the right surface.
They never went straight either. If you did find the right stairs, they would just sort of curve off and hit the wall. And
the holy grail was to find a set of stairs that the Slinky would go from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
And it was never happening. It always stopped in an awkward place, and you had to like lean up painfully in the middle of the stairs.
They've made Jenga bigger. Yeah. Like the blocks are huge now. They still do Twister.
It's because
Twister is still going.
It's because all the kids these days have such fat hands. The tiny blocks are no good, and they probably could mistake them for food. So I think they make the giant Jenga so they can't eat it.
I don't think that is it at all.
That's 100%
First of all, They have like outdoor Jenga, which is obviously bigger.
Yeah, they're like plastic blocks that like a slight bit of breeze hits it and the whole thing falls over. So it's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, those things are just incredibly unstable.
Yeah.
It's tough making these towers, man.
I think the board game Twister was designed to like oust perverts as well.
Oh no, it's just foreplay at a party. It's just if you want to have a gangbang.
It's like an adult sex game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a gateway sex game, isn't it?
It is like a swingers game. Yeah, that's what I always
but if you go to a kid's party and somebody's like, all right, we got Twister. You're like, yep, all right, my kid's never coming to your house again.
Well, see you next time. Yeah, who is honestly like this? It is just perverse. Yeah.
It is very perverted. Yeah, I don't know why.
There's other similar games like Twister though. I think
if you're on a date with somebody though, your first date with somebody, and she's like really hot, and you get back to your place and you're having coffee and stuff, and you bust out the Twister. I think that could be a good lead.
No. I think you have to have it on the shelf, and then she says,
she
you
could
got
be
Twister.
Like, oh, wow, you like Twister too? And like, hell yeah, I do. And then you start playing Twister together. Ooh.
That's so hot.
Now, the first rule of Twister is that you have to take all of your pants off.
Oh, God. I don't know if I'd want to play nude Twister.
God.
Oh, especially with those dangly balls.
Like, my dick would be all like in the way and stuff. Oh, man.
Place your dangly balls on the blue circle.
Also, I'm a bit older now. Like, it doesn't take much for me to involuntarily fart these days. So, like, I think
I thought you were going to say, do your back in.
Or put your back out.
No, like,
my back.
I was in the garden the other day and I squatted down to pick something up. And then I was just like, like just like the biggest fart, just like escaped from my ass.
I don't think that's. I mean, I'm a complete fart master. My God, I'm farting all the fucking time.
That's because you're an old man in a young man's body.
Yeah, that's true.
Shit. I don't know if that is related to age or maybe just diet. I've been trying to eat healthily again lately.
Of course,
and it's tough. It's tough. It sucks.
Do you find that you're farting more or less?
More, definitely, when I'm eating I'm mainly eating only vegetables.
Of course.
And as a result, that's...
So yeah, you will be
I'm
farting
eating
a lot.
Cabbage and lentils, and I seem to be farting all the time.
I just can't stop farting.
What is that?
What is wrong with my ass?
I eat beans and pulses, cabbage and lentils, and my ass won't shut up.
Anyway.
It keeps my wife up all night.
She was complaining about my bad back, but that was because I was playing Twister all day. Fucking hell. Anyway, let's fucking leave it here, guys. Thanks for listening to this podcast, everyone.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us on your holiday. P-Flax, I hope you have a lovely time on the Essex coast.
Oh, thanks for having me. I want to apologize for the audio quality not being...
Don't worry about it.
It's not worse than mine, don't worry.
All right, cheers, guys. We'll
Cheers.
see you all next week for some more Triforce. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Bye, you all.